I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of our shooting program, and welcome to today's show. We're so glad to have you. Yes, friends, spring is here, and nobody could be happier about that than me, because we can spend more time outdoors doing shooting these guns, doing things we really enjoy doing. Well, today is a great day to be out here shooting, friends. We're glad to have you. For those new viewers, welcome to our shooting program. You're going to see our concept as gun owners and people that enjoy shooting, and we certainly hope you enjoy our show. Well, we have some great things for you today. Well, let's start off. We have some volunteer water bottles back here, and we have some carbine ammunition in our .357 Magnum Smith & Wesson here at 686. So let's get started. Well, that's 6. And yeah, some of you are probably already ahead of me. Got a little shower here. Yeah, that's our 7-shooter. Not a 6-shooter, but a 7-shooter sent to us by our good friends at Smith & Wesson. And yeah, let's take a closer look in a moment at this 686 that shoots 7 times. Friends, I tell you what, we got a little wind out here today. Bear with us on our may have a little wind noise there. Anyway, I see this as somewhat of an exciting concept. You know, I personally like revolvers a lot. And you may see me walking around here with this 1911 here from Gunsight. But I like 1911s, but really my own personal preference, if I could just have only one type of gun, it would probably be a revolver. This is a 6-inch barrel, 686. They call this a 686 Plus because instead of 6, it holds 7 cartridges. I'll tell you what, friends, Smith & Wesson has really done, they're really trying to listen to those of us out here that really care about shooting and how guns work. They've made some subtle changes on these guns that I really see as improvements. One of which is, we'll take a closer look in a moment, they have a better designed release, latch and cylinder release here on the side. It's just a little more natural in getting your thumb on it. It's not going to be as likely to hang your thumb or skin it there under several different holes that people might use. A very nice touch. Several things that they have done, one of which they've done away with the dowel pins and the cylinder, which hold the, or previously held the ejector in place, and they've gone to a different system, which I think is an improvement, because I've had them come out on different revolvers, and actually one time had a dowel pin come out, got hung in the hand there, and it hung the gun up. So as you've heard me say, we've managed to make everything that goes bang we ever had malfunction at one time or another. There is no 100% action type, but this is pretty darn close, let me tell you. Friends, as we're talking about improvements, this is something that we'd been after Smith & Wesson to do for several years. A number of other people had too. Bob and I had come a few years ago on the Model 27, which was the original .357 Magnum, and we have one here loaned to us by the judge. In fact, this is his gun. This is an original Model 27. I don't know how old it is, but several years old certainly. This one has a 3.5-inch barrel, and the original .357 Magnum was made on the 44 frame, or at that time it was called pretty much the 44 frame, because Smith & Wesson actually made 44 caliber and 45 caliber, in fact like the 1917 calibers, on their large frame, which today is called the N frame. Well, the 686 is based on the L frame, which is sort of a larger medium frame gun. The 27s were very, very fine guns, but as metallurgy improved, as they learned more about the qualities of the ammunition, well, Smith & Wesson came along and made the L frame. And I was talking to engineering the other day, and they told me that the L frames had darn near as good a durability record as the larger N frames did with the .357 Magnum cartridge. What has concerned a lot of us that has seen these guns, since there are 7 holes, there's less material between the holes in the cylinder, and we'll look at that in a moment. But we were concerned, myself and several other people I've talked to, about the strength of the cylinder as compared to a standard 686. In fact, there's a little bit less metal between the holes here than on, say, the 38 Special, the Model 19 and 357, or the K-frame. So I just got on the phone, called up and talked with the staff there in Springfield, Massachusetts at Smith & Wesson, and they told me that due to some advancements in metal hardening and metallurgical technology, that they were able to do this and not give up any strength in that cylinder. And believe me, Smith & Wesson is not going to sell something, certainly a 357 Magnum, that is not going to be durable and functional, certainly. So I think it's really neat. As of yet, there aren't any speed loaders to fit these guns that are currently available at your local gun shop, but there will be shortly. I talked to HKS, and they will be making a 7-shot speed loader for this 7-shooter Smith & Wesson. I think this would be a terrific police gun, a home defense gun, whatever you want a powerful gun to be. But some people are concerned about, well, the semi-automatics have now up to 10 rounds in a magazine. Some of the older guns up to 15, 17 or so in the magazine. Friends, let me tell you what, 7 shots, a 357 Magnum. See, I'm still comfortable with 6 myself, but you do get the benefit of 1 added shot on this Smith & Wesson revolver. Well, let's take a closer look. Now then, friends, briefly we'll take a quick look here. Of course, these guns come with a very nice and comfortable hold grip, one of my favorite grips, and it's pretty much a standard 686, very fine adjustable sights, and these guns will really give surprising accuracy. We have seen 686 Smith & Wessons that would shoot into less than an inch at 25 yards, and this gun looks like it's going to be extremely accurate. Certainly way more accurate than the average person can hold. Anyway, you'll see one difference here as in the cylinder latch here. It is a different shape. And let's look at the traditional. This is our Model 27. So here's how Smith has made them for all these years, and this is a new shape. It's just a little easier to manipulate, just a little more comfortable. And looking at the cylinder, of course, we have 7 holes, but there are no dowel pins. Now that is really a good feature. That was one of the features I'd always liked about the Wesson guns. There wasn't a little pin there to possibly come out, because they're just pressed in anyway, and they will come out sometimes, and probably at the wrong time. You see the thickness of the between the holes here in the cylinder, and let's look at our Model 27 here. Now then, see, this was how it started off. Quite a bit of metal here between the holes in the original, but realize back in the 1930s when the 357 was first announced, we didn't know nearly as much about working metal as we do today. And see, there's quite a bit of difference there in the amount of metal between the holes, but like I said, the engineering staff said don't worry about it. Now, one thing I will show you, see the locking, the bolt cut here, the locking notch here in the cylinder is between the holes rather than on the other models. It's right over the hole in the cylinder, so that would give some extra strength as far as I don't think there's any danger at all of blowing these guns up, but certainly if someone happened to double charge a hand load, say with bullseye or something like that, and got an overpressure load, you do have that little added bonus there of this, because this is typically the thinnest place in the cylinder on a Smith & Wesson revolver, the bolt cut there. So that's a nice touch. Very smooth. Timing is just excellent on the gun. See, it's locking up way before the hammer comes back. Just a real nice feature. Something else is different is, of course, all the new Smith & Wessons are coming with rounded their sight base here. It makes a nicer, aesthetically more pleasing, I guess. And one other thing I really like, the screws, the adjustment screws here are bigger, so you don't have to get a jeweler's screwdriver to adjust your sights. That's really a nice feature there. Well, let's go ahead and put us a bullet. We're going to Barney 5 here, put us a Corbin 357 bullet cartridge here in our revolver. Now, friends, as we've often said, really what you want to be clear is that front sight. You'll see our target is blurred and our rear sight is blurred just a little, but that's completely correct. You want your front sight to be clear and let your eye center it, and let's go ahead and take a shot here. Yes, indeed. And as your target's going to be a little blurry, your rear sight here is going to be a little blurry, you want your front sight to be clear. That's what determines where you're going to hit. Now friends, this Model 27 is a very, very fine gun. This one shoots extremely good, or extremely well. Has velocities that are really good for a 3.5-inch barrel. But any 357 Magnum Model 27 that you find is going to be somewhat collectible. Now, one, they're very, very fine handguns, but since they're no longer in production, if you got one, I sure wouldn't let it get away, because one, they'll shoot almost indefinitely. I've never really heard of a Model 27 being worn out, but they're also very, very fine handguns. You know, this one has the countersunk cylinder that completely enclosed the cartridge case, whereas our new L-frame here does not. And friends, essentially what this means is, on the newer guns of whatever manufacturer you're talking about today that I'm aware of, the rim, cartridge rim, will actually stick up out of the cylinder slightly, whereas on the original 357 Magnum they didn't. The cartridge case went in completely. Now see, cases used to be made, your cartridge hull itself used to be made differently. They had what they called a balloon head case, which was a different and not as strong design for the cartridge case. But with our modern cases now, there's just no need to fully enclose that case head. So this was an extra step in labor and all, which was just no longer necessary. Well, let's do something. Let's take a look in our 27. Let you look at it in recoil briefly and see if you can tell much difference in it and the L-frame. Realize it does have a 3.5-inch barrel, but it's also a bigger frame than our L-frame. Let's take a shot or two with it. Has a little recoil, not objectionable. Of course, the first thing I would do is change the grips on this, but let's look at our 6-inch L-frame here. Certainly less recoil due to the underlug barrel, but I'll tell you what, friends, I have been so impressed with what's coming out of Smith & Wesson these days. I don't care what product by whichever manufacturer you're going to talk about, there's always going to be a possibility of a malfunction or something that needs to be fixed. But the Smith & Wesson people, I think, can be very, very proud of their product line. What we've been seeing has been really good that's come out of the factory, absolutely. Well, our 7-shot L-frame, this is an option, again, I think would be a superior police gun. It does have the 6-inch barrel, which gets the most out of velocity. Let me say one more thing. Our good friends at Corbon make my favorite 357 Magnum load, the 125 grain jacketed hollow point. But our velocities with Corbon are consistently higher. I'm not sure why some of the other manufacturers seem like they back down on the performance level of their 357 Magnum ammunition. Well, let me tell you what, Corbon has not backed down. Out of this Model 27, we checked on the chronograph earlier today, and bullets were running about 1,460 feet per second out of this 3.5-inch barrel on the 27. And out of this 6-inch barrel Model 686, out of this particular gun, they were averaging a little over 1,600 feet per second. So tremendous velocity. And we didn't have any problem with sticky cases. Everything was fine. There were no pressure signs at all. So really, if you want just superior ammunition, give our friends at Corbon a call, because it's just the best there is. I promise you that some of the larger ammunition manufacturers, because Corbon is, comparatively speaking, a smaller company, say, than one of the old line manufacturers, I promise you that the folks at Corbon are keeping those people up late. Say, my gosh, what are they going to do now that the other manufacturers are going to have to match? So as of yet, we really don't see where the other ammunition manufacturers have really matched Corbon in the quality and performance of their ammunition. So I did want to throw that in. All right, 7-shooter 686. And friends, what do Jim Clark Sr., K. Clark Michalik, Jerry Michalik, and Jim Clark Jr. have in common? You can find them all at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana, one of the finest custom gun shops in the entire country.
They offer all sorts of custom packages on 1911s and other semi-automatics, from race guns to custom carry guns. They also offer a bushing for your 1911, which will greatly increase the accuracy. They also offer a number of different custom packages for the Ruger 1022, and also have some very economically priced new 1022s in stock. Clark Custom Guns also has a good stock of Ruger Security 6s in blue and stainless at good prices. Clark Custom Guns offers some of the best revolver packages available anywhere, including action jobs on your Smith & Wesson or some other fine revolvers. In addition to custom work, they also have a completely stocked gun shop, anything from bullets to powder to accessories that you might want. Clark Custom Guns has one of the finest range facilities in the entire country and offers some shooting classes. You need to call for availability. Friends, it's certainly good for the shooting show, but good for yourselves when you call and get a Clark Custom Guns catalog. They have all sorts of things listed about their products and services and excellent prices. Give them a call. Area 318-949-9884. Again, 318-949-9884. Clark Custom Guns, the complete custom gun shop. Give them a call today. Tell them you saw it on the shooting show.
Shooting Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
You know, friends, a tremendous number of us really enjoy the 45 ACP guns and cartridge. I'm one of them. But we have something that's really exciting to announce on today's program. Corbine has come with a new 165 grain 45 ACP cartridge. The 165 grain at 1,250 feet per second out of a regular government model. Now I see that as really exciting because, one, it gives us performance capabilities that we've really never had available to us in the 45 ACP. Let's run a quick experiment here. Have a couple of water bottles out here, and let's shoot the bottle on the left here with the standard 45 ACP round that so many of us have carried for years in our guns. Then let's try the new 165 grain Corbine. My hearing protection in good. All right, first target will be shot with our 230 grain 45 ACP. Well, hole in, hole out, water's going to drain out. Let's try the other bottle with the new 165 grain Corbine at 1,250 feet per second. Yes, indeed. Now then, I think that's a fairly clear demonstration. Now, friends, I really see this as an exciting development because one, a lot of us really like the 45 ACP, but honestly, that will turn the 45. Heck, a 165 grain bullet at 1,250 feet per second has almost 575 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. To my knowledge, that's the most powerful standard 45 ACP load that anyone's come with. Well, let's run a brief experiment here. We have our 625 revolver, and let's do a little thing here. Let's check. We have well, let's see. Let's go with our standard. This is a high performance loading from another major manufacturer, jacketed hollow points, 230 grains, and let's see what it would do just time-wise. I'm saying that it's going to speed up the function a little bit of getting back on target. We have our pro timer on here, and let's run 5 shots through our revolver, and let's just see how fast I can shoot and recover this afternoon using the standard 230 grain load. Now this has less than 400 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Still a good cartridge, but the 165 Corbon is going to shoot much flatter. Heck, you could hunt deer with it. Certainly, I think that may be something that some of us may want to do, hunt deer with our 45s at the closer ranges, certainly. Well, let's just see if it makes any difference as far as time, shooting time here on this revolver. Punch our timer. Okay, 1.22 seconds, and we have essentially one whole group there. Not too bad, actually. Okay, let's try our new Corbon 165 grain load here. 1.22 seconds. .18 seconds, so you've got another one whole group there. So even though you have quite a bit more power, it didn't slow us down. In fact, it speeded us up a little bit because we didn't have quite as much upward recoil. So certainly it is not going to slow you down. You do gain a very slight advantage as far as time there, but you get a much more powerful loading. It functions, the 1911, just fine. It feeds really well through stock guns, so we really see this as something exciting. So give Corbon a call if you're interested in some of their new high-performance 45 ACP ammunition.
You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbon Ammunition, Corbon Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbon ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbon, information on their product line, call them. Corbon Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbon is the best there is.
Friends, we hope you're enjoying our program today. You'll notice that my esteemed colleague Leroy Scott is back with us this week. And, sir, I want to thank you on behalf of everyone else. In fact, your sacrifice today is pretty good. As we said, you had a minor root canal done this morning. And
Johnny, there's no such thing as a minor root canal.
well, we sincerely appreciate your efforts on coming down here today. You probably would feel better laid up at home there, sort of kick back this afternoon. But anyway, well, sir, I think you have several things that you do want to tell us about.
Well, I got a collection of stuff, Johnny. And, first, I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the program before. GOPAC is a political action committee. They have about once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, they send us a tape. And it's all audio tape, but they're excellent tapes. In fact, they say, copy this tape and share it with your family and friends. Well, if you contact GOPAC, they'll put you on their distribution list, I guess.
Really?
That's how I got on it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me give you the number. It's a 202 number, which is a Washington, D.C. number, 484-2282. This particular tape is superb. There is a lady on it, Star Parker, who apparently has decided she's going to run for Congress out in California. I think she's in California. And because she talks about the Los Angeles riots and so forth. And she is really good. She puts it all right on the line, plain vanilla.
Now, the name of that tape is The Consequences of the Welfare State. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well,
It's the title of the tape.
Well, they say, first, do no harm. The consequences of the welfare state. And She's superb. She could be my representative anytime. That's 202-484-2282. I have mentioned Woody Jenkins in several weeks now. Woody is the endorsed Republican candidate for the United States Senate in Louisiana for the seat of retiring Senator J. Bennett Johnston. Johnston has not distinguished himself with a conservative voting record. He has worked himself up in seniority so that apparently he can bring a good bit of bacon home, at least when the Democrats control Congress, control the Senate, but they haven't in the past 2 years, and I don't think they're going to after the '96 elections. Woody needs contributions. Now, he's gotten some contributions from people that have heard about him on this program. And he has a telephone number. It's in the 504 area code. That's the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area. 504-923-1700. That's 923-1700. For anybody that wants his fax number, we can give you that. That's also 504-928-5097. I've known Woody for a good many years. He is he was on the Constitutional Revision Committee in Louisiana, and Woody is probably as much responsible as anybody for making sure that we have an adequate right to keep and bear arms provision in the Louisiana Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little help from me.
Yes, in fact.
But all I did was tell him what the trouble was and how to fix it, and Woody proceeded to do that.
Well, you know, friends, one of the reasons we mention things like this, because Woody is a good man. He will represent us extremely well as anyone we know in the U.S. Senate if we can just get him there. And it's so important. I heard Rush Limbaugh say earlier today, and this made a lot of sense. He said, you know, the left is back. And let me tell you what, the left, the socialists, have shifted their effort into high gear, friends. This is no joke. The only way, you can't reason with the anti-gun people. I mean, you absolutely cannot. You cannot reason with some of the socialist liberals. I mean, they're beyond reason. There's only one way to deal with them. We have to defeat them.
Well, this lady on here classifies them into three groups. They're the conservatives, and they're the liberals, and then they're the extremists. Mm-hmm. Only she puts the extremists on the left-hand side, where the liberals are trying to put the extremists on the right-hand side.
Right.
And she's really good at that. That tape was superb. I've been listening to it in the car because that's where my tape player is. I have a number of letters. One of them here from Cause. This is a group that has been very active in the Waco Ruby Ridge affair,
Mm-hmm.
and they're regular listeners of ours. They send us faxes and send us literature regularly. Cause, Post Office Box 1235, Black Mountain, North Carolina. They are another member of our group of trying to protect our right to keep and bear arms, and also trying to do something about the abuses
Of the federal government.
of the federal government. Incidentally, did you see in the paper this morning, or somewhere, I guess it was in the paper this morning, I tend to forget exactly what paper I read these things in, but, I know where I got it. I got it from the Idaho newspaper, from Boise, Idaho, that my daughter sent me a clipping of. And Senator, I can't call his name right now, and I know it as well as can be, one of the senators from up there that was very active in pressing the Ruby Ridge thing, was just beside himself because the Marshal Service has seen fit to grant the highest decoration for valor to about a dozen agents, all of whom were involved in Ruby Ridge.
In Ruby.
And in Waco, and that's disgraceful. Absolutely, totally disgraceful.
Get your hands off that gun, bow, or fishing rod. Holding onto your equipment while you're going through the woods or climbing a hill is fatiguing and possibly dangerous. The versatile Tri-Tote all-season carrier is easy to use. You never have to drill a hole in your fine gun stock. And the Tri-Tote can be set up for your specific needs in a jiffy. Just follow the illustrated instructions and free demo video enclosed. There you are, hands-free, yet ready to shoot in an instant. Hunting and fishing have never been more enjoyable. With Tri-Tote, your equipment is secure and your hands are free to support yourself or carry other gear. How did you ever get along without Tri-Tote? Make this year's hunting and fishing the best ever. To order your Tri-Tote at this special TV price, call toll-free 1-800-231-1443. That's 1-800-231-1443.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
You know, Carrie, I think it's as important for you ladies to know how to use these firearms as it is for us men. But you know, there's something else. We can have firearms for defense of our homes and certainly for sport, but we also need information.
Yes, I agree. I think the New American Magazine is the best source of information available in this country.
Well, I would certainly agree. The New American Magazine is the truth and nothing but the truth. And friends, if you would like to know what is really going on in this country and around the world, if you want, in fact, the truth, well, you need to get the New American Magazine. So here's how to do it.
You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE-TRUE. And those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month.
Now, friends, with your new Shootin' Show subscription, they will also send you a free copy of what the United Nations is bringing to all of us. So this is very important. Subscribe today. You know, friends, in times like these, which indeed are strange times, we certainly need our firearms, but we also need the information about what's really going on. Order today.
Well, here's one here from one of our viewers, Shirley Barker. She was passing out compliments to a Colorado sheriff who is on the right side, Sheriff Mack. He's been the sheriff out there that has contested the right of the federal government to actually to enact the gun ban or even the
Brady Bill.
The Brady Bill. And incidentally, I also noticed in the paper this morning that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, that's Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and I'm not sure what other states that the Fifth Circuit covers, but it's a federal court of appeals, of which there are about 12 in the United States. They have upheld the unconstitutionality of the requirement in the Brady Bill that local sheriffs check people out. The court said that the federal government lacked the authority to impose those obligations on the states.
Well, a start.
Well, as far as I know, that's the first appellate court that's heard it. I'm not certain of that, but anyhow, that's a good start for those of us down in this part of the country, at least. Have a letter here from David Van Zant. Incidentally, David, you're getting all over me about fussing about Senator Dole. you ought not fuss at me about it. You ought to fuss at Senator Dole, because he's the one that made his record. Now, he says, Mr. Van Zandt says, that he's 66, a lifelong Republican, and so forth. Well, I'm 73, and I'm not a lifelong Democrat, because if I'd registered Republican when I first started voting, I would have had a chance to vote in anything in Louisiana. In fact, my wife tried to register as a Republican back some years ago, and the registrar wouldn't even let her do it.
Isn't that something?
Well, that was common sense in that day.
That's true in a lot of places in the South.
But after the Republican Party got some starts and helps and pushings, and really the thing that made the Republican Party in Louisiana was when we had an open primary. Didn't make it a Republican, Democrats, you could vote for all the candidates, and that did it. We've got a Republican governor now. We got 5 out of 7 Republican representatives in Congress, all of whom incidentally voted right on the gun ban. They voted wrong on the terror bill, and I'm going to write them a letter when I get around to it.
Well, see there, friends, we actually have our new governor in Louisiana, and nobody has had more colorful politics than Louisiana. Well, maybe Rhode Island. Rhode Island's had some pretty colorful politics of their own, but we've been right up there as a state, and we have actually worked and gotten a good man as governor. I mean, this man is for real. It still can be done.
Well, they had a special session of the legislature start last night, and one of the bills in the special session is a reciprocal recognition and statewide concealed carry permit. It passed in the legislature last time, and the governor vetoed it, despite the fact he has a gun collection of several hundred guns.
But he's gone.
Well, I guess he thought just politicians ought to be allowed to have guns. Anyhow, the present governor has put that on his special call for legislation. It's generally conceded it's going to pass. And I notice that 3 or 4 other states, I don't have a list of them right now, 3 or 4 other states have also adopted reciprocal legislation. That is, they'll recognize the right if Louisiana will recognize their right, and that's going to be in our proposed bill.
All right, we need this all over the United States. Everywhere you can get a concealed carry law passed that will allow citizens to carry concealed, and have the other states recognize that license. Someone said, just like other states recognize, if you get a marriage license here in Louisiana, well, it's recognized in Texas and Arkansas, and for that matter in Vermont and New Hampshire and Montana.
Well, Georgia has, the governor has just signed Senate Bill 678, which is, that one clarifies the situation in Georgia. So Georgia recognizes other states' concealed carry permits if they recognize Georgia's. And in Arizona, we've got the same thing going. Louisiana should have a similar provision by the time this special session is over, which has got to be in about 28 days because the regular session is due to start then. Back to David Van Zandt. David, I know that you got after me about fussing at Dole. Well, Dole needed fussing at. I realize that he is going to be the Republican nominee if he lives past the Republican convention, and of course I'll support him. It's up to us to get the best candidate we can get, and if we could have a better candidate than Dole, then I would have supported him. And Dole wasn't even a candidate in Louisiana. He didn't have any people on our ballot down here, and I voted for Buchanan. I was happy to vote for Buchanan. Well, actually, I didn't vote for Buchanan. I voted for myself. As a delegate. I was a delegate on that.
But you were going to vote. That was Buchanan was your candidate.
Well, Buchanan was my first choice.
Well, one thing I want to add about, really the best thing, I guess, that I heard someone say the other day about Bob Dole.
What?
He doesn't have Hillary.
No, doesn't have Hillary. That's at least some advantage. Rich Wampau asked me to get that executive order about Yellowstone, and I'm looking for it. I just haven't had time to do it. I'm working on that, and I'll try to get it for you. Marv Schwarnbeck. Thanks, Marv. I appreciate your offer, and if I can ever get hold of a copy of my little pamphlet on the myth of the right and left, I'll ship it to you because we would like to have it reprinted. And incidentally, that gets down to something else. If anybody still wants that special on Oklahoma City out of the New American, I have some copies of it, and I'll be glad to get it to you. I think I've already sent out long enough ago for them to have received it. Everybody that has sent $2 or more, some of them sent, one person sent $50, and that enabled me to get some of these things out. But I've sent it to everybody that sent $2 and some that didn't, and we still have some left over. And if anybody has sent a couple of bucks in and hadn't gotten it, let me know because I'll go ahead and send it to you. I've been lax in not commenting about Gun Owners of America and National Rifle Association. They're both good organizations. Now, I like Gun Owners of America better, and the reason I like them better is that they're more non-compromising. For example, in faxes I got from NRA, they said that the terrorism bill, as it was amended in the House, was okay. Gun Owners of America says it's not okay. There are some differences that the NRA is willing to accept. Gun Owners of America is not willing to accept. As Marv Schwarnbeck puts it, he wished that they would get together and put out the same line. Well, I do too. But I want to encourage all of you, anybody that's not already a member of Gun Owners of America, to send them $20. It's a year's membership. It'll go into their political fund and hopefully get us some people elected to Congress. Incidentally, remember, one of our strongest supporters in Congress is Steve Stockman from South Texas. And he has been uncompromising and steady in his support for a repeal of the gun ban. He hasn't gotten the kind of support from the Republican leadership in the House that Representative Barr from Georgia has gotten, but he has been a prime mover in it. And even the, well, I don't know if the NRA recognizes his particular contribution to it or not, but they should. I have faxes from both NRA and GOA today talking about how the House of Representatives voted to repeal the Clinton gun ban. Now, let's be practical. I don't think that that this is going to get through the Senate.
Well, Dianne Feinstein promised the mother of all filibusters. Is that correct?
Yes, she did. But we ought to be able to get some Democrat Senate support for that. I don't know if she can keep 60 people in line on that. But then the word's been put out that Dole is that's not one of Dole's priorities. Now, NRA says, speaking of Senator Dole, while media reports have been swirling that Senator Dole promised Senator Feinstein not to schedule any repeal vote, Dole's office has vehemently denied this allegation. NRA says we'll keep you posted.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
If you are a boater or a birder, If you ever carry a camera, Bi-Tote is for you. It is the most comfortable binocular and camera carrier on the market today. And its all-elastic quick change feature makes it possible to switch from one piece of equipment to another without missing a beat. If you think that carrying binoculars or cameras is a pain in the neck, try Bi-Tote. For the first time, your equipment will feel almost weightless, and you'll be free of that annoying swinging and bouncing which is hard on your body as well as the equipment, especially when you're negotiating rough terrain or on a pitching boat. One hand for you, one hand for the boat, and Bi-Tote for your binoculars or camera. They'll be ready for you instantly, held firmly in position. They're always there, not buried in a locker or other out-of-the-way place. And the Bi-Tote is totally adjustable for a custom fit. All necessary adapters and complete instructions are included with your Bi-Tote. How did you ever get along without it?
Well, of course, we know what's going to happen. Clinton is going to veto it. I mean, no ifs, no ands, no buts. He's going to, even if it gets through the Senate. And essentially what this is going to do is let everyone know where their senators and their representatives stand on the repeal attempt. Is that correct?
I've got 2 pages of listings here on how they voted. If you're curious about the way your representative voted, I've got it. 2 pages of it. All of them, 435 members of the House. Well, there were a few of them that were absent. There are a few states that are absolutely on the honor roll. Alabama, for example, every representative, Democrat and Republican, voted in favor of repealing the gun ban. Arkansas got 3 out of 4. Arizona had only 1 dissenter, and that was a Democrat. But we've got a bunch of Republicans that did not go along with us. This was a coalition vote. It was a coalition of a lot of conservative Democrats, a lot of gun owner Democrats, and a group of Republicans that were in the heavy majority on that. It won't survive a Clinton filibuster, but it does tell us where these people stand, and there's going to be some repercussions from it. We've had a number of Republicans, for example, that did not support us on this issue, and if you got to choose between a Republican and a Democrat, go ahead and vote the Republican, because at least the Republican leadership is trying and is helping. The Democrat leadership will absolutely not do it. Who's the Democratic leader in the House? That's
Gephardt?
Gephardt, and he's from Missouri, isn't he?
Missouri, Kansas, one of the two. I don't remember which.
I'm pretty sure it's Missouri. Let's see where Representative Gephardt voted, as if I didn't know. Gephardt voted no. Surprise.
Yeah, right. Well,
he's a party line
absolutely
Democrat. What we used to call.
That's what's so unbelievable. You want to briefly? We'll touch on this thing that was on C-SPAN a couple of days ago. Don Imus, this DJ, I guess in Washington, somewhere around there, really took some shots at the organized press. Some of the personalities in organized press took a couple of shots at Clinton, didn't he?
Oh, that was in that banquet. He was a speaker at the banquet, and he spoke pretty clearly. In fact, he's been criticized as having been in very poor taste. I don't know.
I find it somewhat amusing is the liberal left and some of the larger personalities in the organized media. They can dish it out really well, can't they, Judge?
Boy, but when their man gets it, they
can't take it too well, can they?
They just scream bloody murder. But anyhow, Steve Stockman, Republican in Texas, South Texas. Let me tell you, he's a great guy. He sent less than 2 weeks after he sent a Dear Colleague letter to every House member asking them to support his discharge petition. You've got to understand how things work in the House. A committee takes it, and a committee can bottle it up, do nothing with it. And in the House, we had Henry Hyde from Illinois, and he had it bottled up. Even after it comes out of there, it's got to go to the Rules Committee, and the Rules Committee schedules the order of priorities. And then the Speaker takes it up when he gets good and ready. You can sign a discharge petition. If you got a majority of the House saying, signing a discharge petition saying, get it out and vote on it, up or down in the House, that can bypassed the committee, which I understand upset Henry Hyde considerably. But it worked. Now, they did not do it with Stockman's petition, but they did it on Representative Barr from Georgia, Representative Barr's petition. But in any event, I compliment the Republicans on doing it. It's a promise fulfilled. They promised to bring it up to a vote. That's all they did with, incidentally, the contract with America. Everybody talks about, well, they didn't do the contract with America. They have. They've done exactly what they said. They said that we would see that these things had open votes on the House floor. They didn't say we promised to pass them. They said we would see that these issues get voted on, and so the public can see where their people stand. And they've done that. They've even done it with term limits. They've done it with a balanced budget amendment. They've even done it, and I'm sorry they've done it with this, but they even got through the line item veto. Now, I'm worried about the line item veto because I think it puts too much power in the hands of the executive. Because he can pass everything he likes on a bill and then veto part of the bill.
And a lot of times that's how you get things done, is by attaching something to a bill. Isn't that right?
Well, of course, that's that's what Gun Owners America would like to see done. They want to see the gun ban attached to the crime bill. I mean, to the terrorism bill, because Clinton is screaming and hollering about wanting a terrorism bill. So if he's going to veto it, let him veto it, but then he'll be vetoing some of the legislation he's screaming for. And that's just part of the system. There are things the matter with almost all legislation and potential pitfalls, and we've used up all the time we've got on the program tonight. But I do want to compliment certain people, and Representative Barr, Steve Stockman, Helen Chenoweth, and the other representative from Idaho. I know about those because I particularly noticed them. They're the people my children get a chance to vote for. And keep up the good work. Pester your representatives. Stay after your senators. Let's make sure we get a veto-proof Congress this time. Of course, remember, I think that terrorism, despotism, I'll call it that instead of terrorism. Despotism of the Republicans is just as bad as despotism of the Democrats. I think that what's the term they use for government being tied up, stalemated? Gridlock. That's the word I wanted. I think a certain amount of government in gridlock, a certain amount of gridlock in government is fine because it limits the amount of damage that government can do. And believe me, government can do damage. Thomas Jefferson said government was the greatest enemy of the people. Something we got to have, but we don't want too much of it. Still good advice.
Still good advice.
My friends are going to look at a piece of equipment that some of you will really find interesting today. A lot of us have these 625 revolvers and some others, in fact, that such as 9mm revolvers and things that are out there that have full moon clips that will headspace these cartridges. This is, of course, the 625 is for the 45 ACP, and a rimless cartridge that headspaces normally on the case mouth, but in this case we have a moon clip, a clip that holds them together, that will literally hold the cartridge cases in place. Now that if we're hand loading and using some maybe higher recoiling loads, sometimes if the cartridge case does not have a real good grip on the bullet, your bullet can come forward under recoil out of the case. In extreme situations, you may have a bullet poke its nose out of the cylinder itself, and it can tie up the gun. It will certainly change the pressure characteristics of your load, and it's a very undesirable situation for the bullet to move from the case in any direction. In a semi-automatic pistol, in a magazine, sometimes we'll have the bullet seat itself deeper under recoil or when it goes on the feed ramp. So that's something else we're not going to worry about today. But when we're hand loading for one of these
revolvers that shoots a semi-automatic pistol cartridge, I like to have a good crimp on the bullet. Now then, if you're shooting a bullet that doesn't have a cannelure on it, which is the little groove around the bullet there, which is crimped into, or which the case is crimped into the bullet itself, well, what can we do about it? Well, let's take a look. Friends, this is your cannelure right here. There's a little groove pressed into the jacket of the bullet here, and this is of course a bullet for a semi-automatic pistol that has no groove here, and there's nothing to crimp the case mouth into. And for those times when a taper crimp is not good enough and we want to crimp our case mouth into the bullet, well, we need this cannelure, this groove, to do it. Now friends, this is a cannelure machine or tool from Corbin, and they're up in White City, Oregon, I believe. We'll check on that in just a moment. But this is really a well-made and neat little machine. You know, Corbin makes all kinds of products. They even help people get started in making bullets. If you want to get in the bullet making business, well, you need to talk to Dave Corbin out there. Anyway, it's very simple. You have a couple of rollers here, and you have your crimping tool, or your cannelure tool right here, so you can get that crimp. And it's fully adjustable for all different sorts of bullets, whatever you might want to use. Another application, if you wanted to crimp, if you had some 30 caliber bullets you wanted to put in a 30-30, and you were not satisfied with where the cannelure was on the bullet, or maybe you have some bullets that would qualify for use in a lever action rifle, but you darn sure want that bullet to stay put, well, that would be another candidate for a cannelure machine such as this. Anyway, here's how it works, and we've already adjusted this. I got hold of some bullets a while back in 41 caliber, and I wanted to shoot them in my 41 Magnum, but turns out they were for a 41 Action Express, so I couldn't use them until I put a cannelure so I could put a crimp there of the case mouth into the bullet. Simple thing. We've already adjusted it. You can adjust it to put the cannelure wherever you want to, for that matter, on the bullet. Just bring it down like so. Put a little pressure on it. You adjust it right here for the depth, and you want less than 15 thousandths of an inch as far as the depth of your groove there. So let's take a look, and you turn it twice. There's one, there's two, and let's see. Now then, friends, you can see it has put a factory type cannelure on the bullet there, and it'll be suitable for reloading in my 41 Magnum revolver. We'll make a varmint type load out of this particular bullet, and this is something we thought we would show you that you might find interesting.
Friends, we have a new phone system here at the Shooting Show. Our new health club number is 1-800-648-0129. That's code 33. We have a new office number, area 318-682-4218. Again, 318-682-4218. Our advertising office is still the same 800 number, 1-800-728-8486.